Visitors to the Plattsburgh Public Library may notice a few changes to the mural along Brinkerhoff Street. The work is finally complete after the project remained unfinished for nearly 4 years. The recent dedication of the mural brought both sorrow and joy.
Sue, you're gonna do the honors.
Aww. The dedication of the Read and Grow Dream Garden Mural commemorated the end of a project that had taken longer to complete than anyone had expected. The event also commemorated a life lost, that of retired teacher, ceramic artist, and gardener Jerry Seguin Jr. of West Chazy, New York, who passed away from pancreatic cancer in November. A leaf on the wall dedicates the mural to Seguin, whose talents and commitment helped make this mural possible. Seguin had sculpted tiles and tested glazes for the ceramic artwork and worked with 21 other artisans and about 200 community members to complete the piece.
When you look at the way the carvers are able to create natural forms out of clay, it's jaw-dropping to watch it happen. I mean, I've done a little bit of it myself, and it's very hard. When I do it myself and then I watch Jerry and Sue making life happen out of the clay, it's just amazing.
Actually, my favorite part is the glazing and the clay, like touching the clay.
Mural designer Sue Burdick-Young oversaw the work by the enthusiastic community members who spent 8 months creating clay vegetables and animals to populate the garden mural. The large work also depicts roots and creatures thriving below the ground. The three-dimensional artwork was coordinated by Outside Art, Plattsburgh Public Art Project, the organization that has arranged for 15 murals to decorate walls in Plattsburgh. Artist-activists Amy Guglielmo and Julia Devine worked with administrators at the library to raise money, ideas, and eventually a ceramic garden.
There was an opportunity with this wall facing the Y. There's so much pickup. It's a busy corner. And when I saw they were doing murals around the city, I thought, this is a perfect wall. It's a flat wall. The brick is good. And I just called them and said, would you be interested in putting something on our wall?
The mural pays tribute to a children's book written by Plattsburgh author Kate Messner, Up in the Garden and Down in the Dirt.
Oh, it's amazing. It's an absolute gift. And I have written big chunks of some of my books at the Plattsburgh Public Library, and I do a lot of research there and go there to write sometimes. So walking by that mural and seeing that appreciation for that story that we share is just incredible.
Joining us now in our studio is the mural designer, Sue Burdick-Young of Jay, New York. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you, Paul.
I understand it was very important to you to honor Jerry Seguin, who worked so hard on the mural. How was it to work with him?
I had worked with Jerry before on the county mural, and he was such a skilled potter, sculptor, and when he heard about this project relating to the garden, he was in, and he was a master at the leaves, which you wouldn't think would be a big deal, but a pumpkin leaf or a squash leaf, the tomato leaves, so that oh, that's a tomato leaf, He was so good at that, and he worked on so many elements of it, the carrots, the beets, the pumpkins. There's not roughly a square foot that doesn't have his influence in it.
I was fortunate enough to meet Jerry on the day that we visited the artist making tiles, and here's what he told us.
The whole garden idea is one of sowing seeds and harvesting a crop later, and we do that on so many levels. Like with children, we sow seeds in their minds, and out of that comes a community of citizens. And I'm a gardener myself. It's easier to go ahead and create things that you're familiar with. If you know how a plant grows and how it's constructed, then take that information and turn it into clay. And in a way, there's a lot of satisfaction with doing that. The same kind of satisfaction that comes out of gardening comes out of this clay work also, which is nice. And possibilities and that whole idea of hope and of what's going to come out of this in the end is just there to enjoy. It's one of the things that I enjoy about gardening, and it's one of the things I enjoy about clay work too.
As part of the celebrations of the completion of the mural, art advocates Jason Andrew and Jackie Sabrin organized an exhibit of Jerry's ceramic works in Jay. Sue, who did the community lose when Jerry passed away?
Oh my, we lost a father, a grandfather, a dear friend to many in the arts community, a wonderful teacher, a beloved teacher. He had a way about him that really fostered creativity in others. It was really nice. It was just wonderful.
Oh, that's glorious.
Well, the completion of the mural is causing a lot of excitement in Plattsburgh because it sat on the wall in an unfinished state for nearly 4 years. I know the pandemic had something to do with that long pause, but originally the mural was supposed to include some moving parts from a local robotics group with moving marbles. What was the original vision for this mural?
The original vision was to have what we were calling a marble machine that would feature the cycle, the rain cycle. So the drops or the marbles, which were ping pong ball size, would travel up a sunflower, they would go across into a cloud, and they would rain down and cycle right back through. And so the Robotics Club helped us quite a bit with that. But we had lots of challenges because I'm a novice. I am not an engineer.
What were some of those challenges?
Well, one of the things was because of being on that south-facing wall, the heat warped the parts. And so we could not get it to run consistently. And also, just the length of that tube, it was a 9-foot auger tube, and there was a bit of whiplash in there, and we could never quite get it to work completely.
So originally, the rain or the marbles were going to rain from that cloud consistently.
That's what we were hoping. We had a solar array all set up to power it, and as long as the sun was out, it would work.
Has anything like that ever been attempted on a mural before?
I don't know, especially with the solar application. It was just something I had to try.
I remember one of the artists was getting kind of frustrated, and she said to you, for the next mural, let's get back to what we know, just the ceramics, just the clay work, not any moving parts. Sue, what ultimately happened so that the decision was made to abandon the moving parts?
Well, we did kind of solve we had the parts reprinted with a plastic that wouldn't melt, but the sustainability of those motors, the engineering that would be required to really keep it working was just too problematic, so we had to go to plan B.
Well, I'll tell you my story. I was exiting the YMCA one day, and the YMCA is right across from the library mural, and 2 weeks before that, I had taken a good long look at that library mural because we were shooting some introductions for Mountain Lake Journal in front of that mural. And on this particular day, I looked at the mural and I noticed that it looked different than it had 2 weeks prior. So I walked across the street, I took a good look at the cloud, and I saw the ceramic raindrops, and I saw what looked like a new sunflower that had replaced the plywood sunflower. And I said to myself, this mural is done. And this was right before you had the ceremony.
Yes, and that was like, oh, that's just the reaction I want to hear, because there has been some concern, it hasn't looked finished, and it's just a huge relief to have it done.
Well, ultimately, what did you learn from this project?
A project of that scope really needed an engineer, somebody who really understood the dynamics of all these moving parts and everything, especially a project like this where you wanted it to be self-sustaining. I just did not have that skill set. But I have to mention this because Jerry, I think, knew this, that it wasn't realistic, but he never, ever discouraged me. I would even ask him some things, but he never discouraged me. But what he did do is he took really good notes on how the sunflower was glazed, because Plan B meant that we'd have to make another sunflower. So, and those notes are why that sunflower that we put up there matches all the others.
So you replaced that plywood sunflower that was part of the mechanical system with a traditional ceramic sunflower. And what it sounds like you're saying is that Jerry left notes, and he really helped you after his death with this piece of art.
That's absolutely true.
So now those 3 sunflowers, they pretty much look like they were all made at the same time.
That's right. It was a little complicated, and I never could have replicated if we didn't have those notes.
When you look around the mural, and I've seen little kids looking around the mural and their parents leading them in different directions to point out certain animals and vegetables, your eye goes all over this piece, and there's so much to see that I've seen it many times, and I'm still seeing new things in there. Do you have a favorite element?
The snake and the beans is one of my favorite. That was a fun thing. Kit Booth worked on that primarily, but it was kind of a commutative thing that going on there, which is a neat. When you can work together with a group of artists and have it be in sync, it's great. But that sunflower, the lower sunflower, the one that Jerry carved, is my absolute favorite. To me, that is a masterpiece. I mean, he had such a way, his had a fluidity and a life to it, whereas mine just seems static in comparison. You know, mine looks fine and it's good and everything, but there's something about that sunflower.
Well, how do you enjoy being the leader of these mural projects like the tile mandala and the library mural that are destined to stay in our community for years to come?
Once they're done, it belongs to the community. I feel like I don't really have much ownership with it. I'm very proud of being part of it and that whole experience, but I don't, claim ownership of those things. That they belong to the community, and they worked on it.
Well, it's an absolutely brilliant looking tribute to Kate Messner's book, to Jerry Seguin's work, and the work of all the volunteers and the artisans who helped with this mural. What is your opinion ultimately when you look at the mural?
Well, it was the most challenging mural I've ever worked on. I mean, I really pushed the limits on this one, but I have no regrets about really pushing those limits. It was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work though, a lot of hard work.
To see this work in person, maybe count the bugs and even touch the mural, you may visit it along Brinkerhoff Street at the Plattsburgh Public Library.
Spotlight is supported by the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation, dedicated to improving the quality of life for year-round residents of the Adirondack Park.